Hello out there in television land. What's going on, YouTube? Just hanging out. It is an ungodly hour. What is it, like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, wherever you happen to be? So I'm kind of just hanging out here, and I thought I'd share some thoughts, right? Thought I'd share some wandering, rambly thoughts. A lot of things been going on in society in general, right? But in the geekosphere in particular, right? And geekdom and nerddom, all these different places that we have a place in as nerds, right? What's going on? What's going on? Let me see if I can think of some. What you mean you didn't have anything planned, bro? Tup?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yep, I didn't have anything planned. I do have like a general feeling of what I want to talk about, but I didn't have anything particularly planned here. I want to go through what has been going on in society as well as, I'd say, in entertainment. So it's a little bit of this and that. Okay, this and that, this and that. What's been going on? Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has not a sequel, but a prequel coming out. And we need to understand one thing about when we're looking at these TV shows. Hopefully, you guys can see and hear me. All right, this is for the playback, but I hope you guys can hear me. 1 second. Let's see who's here. Oh, no one's here except me. Again, ungodly hour. There's something we have to understand about these TV shows, these movies, these trilogies. Stop hoping for a happy ending or stop hoping for closure. You will never get closure from these shows. You will never get closure from these movies. You will never get a happy ending, a nice, neatly wound up, wrapped up with a bow on top. You'll never get anything like that with these shows. Do you know why? See, imagine a table, right? You don't need to imagine it. Wherever you are now, there's likely a table there. If the table is perfectly balanced, if there are four legs and a top, right, a surface, you set something on top of it and then you forget. Fire and forget. You don't have to think about the table ever again. But imagine now that one of those table legs is wobbly, right? Because it's imperfect, it is always calling attention. Whenever you set something down, it shakes it, right? You set a glass of water down, it starts rippling like some dinosaur from Jurassic Park is nearby, right? If you try to lean on it, you get slightly like a jolt, like whoa, whoa, whoa. So this is the same concept with these TV shows and with these movies. If, for example, the Game of Thrones series that went on for something like 10, 12 years, my God, right? 10 or 12 years, you had an amazing show. Game of Thrones was the show of the century, maybe even the millennium. Everyone watched it and everyone was in love with it. Then, towards the last season, if they wrapped it up nice and tight for you, will you ever think about the show again? Maybe fondly, in nostalgia, in a nostalgic fashion, maybe. But in terms of conversation, will it ever be a hot topic again? No. No. You've squared it away. You're happy, you squared it away, you don't think about it again, fire and forget. However, if they give you a fucked up piece of narrative towards the end, an awful, right? An awful season, something that's so controversial, it's polarizing. Hell, polarizing means there's two, right? Two opposites. No. It has no happy side, right? There's no one sector of the population hates it, the other sector of the population loves it. None of that, right? Everyone was unhappy. Everybody. Feminists, NRAs, everyone. Democrat, Republican, everyone. Cats, dogs, fish, land animals, everyone. Everyone was angry at the 8th season of Game of Thrones. That's by design. They will never give you anything that's even resembling closure or anything happy. So, House of the Dragon, now you're looking forward to House of the Dragon because the last season of Game of Thrones was so messed up. You're like, you know what? I know they're gonna fix the problem with storytelling and graphics and acting with this new show that's based on the same universe. Same thing with The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has been floundering for a long time now. They chose now to finally make the show interesting. But I have to warn my fellow nerds and geeks and fellow geekdom fandom people. I have to warn you, stop putting your hopes in this last season, this final season, the season that end all seasons of The Walking Dead. They have to end it messed up. They can't give you a happy ending. Not the happy ending you're looking for. They can't give it to you. If they give it to you, then you wrap a bow around it and you don't think about it again. Just like the very stable, balanced table. You don't want a balanced table because then you forget about the table and you only think about what's on the table. You forget about the table itself. So in order for them to keep you thinking about it, they have to give you an unbalanced table. Now, if you throw your feet up, you're like, whoa, this table and chair nearly took my life, right? So now they have Negan and Maggie, right? The most mortal of mortal enemies on the show. Those of you who don't know what happened, Negan killed her husband. I mean, killing is an understatement, right? He bludgeoned her husband into a smear in the mud. The guy became a smear on the mud, right? And his body kept on twitching even after he was done, right? So now you have this guy here who did that horrific thing, and he's side by side with the wife of the guy who he bludgeoned to a smear. It's very interesting. And the thing is, what makes it even more interesting is that he's Negan, so Negan doesn't beg or plead. But if Negan were to beg or plead, that's what it would sound like. He was like, look, if I do this for you, there was something that she needed for him to do, right? Because she was short a soldier. And he was like, I'll walk out now and you're short one soldier that you need, or I do this for you and we're square. We're square. We're even, right? I don't have to look over my shoulder, right? I don't have to sleep with one eye open, thinking that you're gonna slit my throat while I'm sleeping, right? And she was like, "You really? You take a promise from me?" with her, you can always tell when a British actor or actress is affecting an American accent because a little bit of their Brit comes in there, and then they overcorrect it, and they really go Southern. So she's like, "Really? You take a promise from me. I'm like, yeah, you're British. When there was one instance where Negan's about to teach her how to be a walker, a whisperer, right? Because Negan learned at the feet of Alpha, who originated the practice of wearing a walker's skin and then whispering, right? So being a whisperer, right? He's about to teach her that, and she starts off very, very strong with the southern accent. I'm not cutting up anyone I know. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's straight out of dialect class, right? You can't fault it, but it was so academically perfect, right? It was so academically perfect that it threw me out. It jolted me out of the immersion of the show. Right? What else is going on? What else is going on? What If has turned out to be the Marvel show, the Marvel TV show, the Marvel streaming series, the Marvel cinematic anything that everyone is on board for. No one hates it. See, with WandaVision, some people hated it, some people loved it, some people said that, for example, your boy Zach says it's a show for people who don't read comics. I disagree, but that's how he felt about it. And then some people were like, oh my God, they totally read the comic to make this TV series. So you see how polarizing it is, right? And then there's Winter Soldier. Some people loved the politicization of the story, where Sam Wilson, the new Captain America. If I need to say spoiler on this long done show that you should have watched, then you're not gonna watch it. All right. If you haven't seen it, you're not gonna see it. So spoiler alert, schmoiler alert, whatever. Right? Um, this show, What If, is not like the Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's not like WandaVision. What else is out there? It's not like any of the Marvel movies. It's not like Black Widow. It's not like Shang-Chi. It's not polarizing. People love this show. And I love this show. In fact, people so love this show that one of the things that the low lives who thrive on controversy have tried to do is they've tried to drive a wedge, into the fandom. Someone like Grace Randolph. I'm not going to put an image of her, I didn't prepare for that. Grace Randolph took the opportunity to stick her rad feminist dick in our enjoyment. We all saw the last. If you haven't seen this, what are you doing if you're not watching What If? If you're not watching that, I don't know what you're doing. Okay? We all saw the last episode for the season for What If. And in that episode, Peggy Carter, also known as Captain, I don't know if she's Captain Britain, because the American, the shield there has the Union Jack, the British Union Jack in it, right? But let's say she's a new Cap, right? So Peggy Carter as Cap with that shield, that vibranium shield, and Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, using the Red Guardian's shield, another vibranium shield. Same size, right? Same composition. And these two women took on Ultron. And the thing is, at the time, I thought nothing about the fact that there are women. It was two heroes fighting for me. I am the normie. I am the innocent. I am the weak. I am the one who needs their protection. These two heroes went and they took down Ultron. They broke him down to pieces. A shield here, shield there, hitting him high, hitting him low, right? Breaking him down. All I saw and all I rooted for were two heroes. Grace Randolph comes in with her hard feminist dick and said, well, you know, a lot of people were going to find a problem that it's two women who are blah, 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 blah. Bitch, no one said that shit. Nobody. Nobody said that shit. You're talking nonsense, lady. You're talking nonsense. No one said anything like that. No one even thought it. I went through Twitter. I went through Facebook. I went through Instagram. No one thought, hey, these are two women. Why are there two women fighting this robot? No one thought this, except Grace Randolph. Anyhow, that show is on, and it wrapped up its last episode. So it wrapped up the first season. I can't wait for the second season. There are a lot of people who don't want us to watch anything Marvel or Disney. They want us to boycott it. A boycott of Disney or Marvel is very difficult at the moment because Disney has bought every company that matters. Disney has bought, I mean, God, the only companies they haven't bought are Sony, Paramount, Universal, and Warner Brothers. Everyone else is either connected to Disney. Hell, I should put Sony off that list. Sony's connected to Disney, right? So remove Sony from that list. Every other company, aside from Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Universal, I think even TriStar, right? Every other company besides them are either connected to Disney or outright owned by Disney. So a boycott of Disney is almost impossible right now. What, you just don't want us to watch anything then? These people who want us to boycott Disney? That's not practical. It's not pragmatic. Anyhow, what else is going on? Dave Chappelle has been accused of enjoying white privilege. Yep, that's a thing. Dave Chappelle, look at him. Dave Chappelle is enjoying white privilege. I think that's as much as I'll say about that, and then you can make up your minds, right? It's at the wake of his show. I think his show is called The Closer or something like that. And in that show, Dave Chappelle criticizing the powers that be right now, who are hounding and harassing people on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, who are hounding us about these pronouns. They're hounding us about sir and ma'am and thee and thee and she and he. Regular, normal, real-life trans people are not championing this. It's these hashtagtivists. It's these control freaks. It's these people who have nothing else going on in their lives. They're the ones who are doing this. The man made a show that is brilliant. It's not extremely funny. You have to understand that Dave Chappelle doesn't do comedy anymore. He does social commentary with a comedic flair. So the jokes in Dave Chappelle's comedy, they're not even written like classic jokes. They're social commentary. And then the fact that you realize what he's saying is true makes it funny. Every now and then he does throw you a curveball, throws a joke in there. But that's really his modus operandi. Anyhow, what else is going on? I think it's probably time we moved on to our main. The weather's changing. Weather's changing. And as per usual, my allergies are destroying me. Right? Destroying me. But I think it's time we move on to the main topic.
We can all be some fighting motherfuckers in here this evening. Bring your ass, nigga. Bring it on. Come on. Bring your ass. Come on, get up and come on. You out of your fucking mind? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
All right. Let's get it in. Right, so who do you trust? Trust is a funny thing. There are many forms of trust, right? I've written this before. I've written about it before. And I don't have these notes with me, so I'll kind of like do it off the top of the head here. There's something like maybe 4 forms of trust. Let's go through them. There's biological trust, right? You trust your body, okay? So you trust your heart to keep beating. You trust your internal organs to behave like they're programmed to. You trust your parents because they're your biological parents, right? You trust your parents not to poison you. We'll come to poison. Speaking of poison, if you're looking at the screen right now and you've seen Black Panther, you'll know how relevant the word poison is right now, right? So, you trust your parents not to poison you. You trust your mom not to snuff you in your crib. You trust your dad not to push you down a flight of steps, okay? So, that's biological trust. You trust your body and you trust those related to you biologically. The second form of trust is societal trust. With societal trust, you guys remember handshakes when we used to have those? Oh, 2021. Oh, pandemic. What have you done? Right? So, you guys remember handshakes? Yeah. You trust that if you shake someone's hand, they didn't come out of the bathroom and wiped and didn't wash their hands, right? You trust that they don't have, I don't know, powdered arsenic on their palms, right? You trust them. You trust them societally, like societal trust. What else is societal trust? Let's say you're a boxer or an MMA fighter. You trust that when you're in that ring, the opponent made a contract with you that you will be using your hands and feet and they won't pull out a gun and shoot you. That's a particular social trust. The other kind of trust, the third kind of trust, is religious trust, right? So you trust your clergy, you trust your pastor, your imam, your rabbi, you trust God, you trust in the afterlife, you trust in Jesus, you trust in Jehovah, Allah. So that's religious trust. The fourth kind of trust is institutional trust. When you, let's say, get on a bus, you trust that the bus company, whether it's state-run or it's a private company that's overseen by the state, you trust when you get on that bus that the driver is well-trained, that the bus is top of the line, well-maintained, well manufactured, well maintained, that the things inside the truck or the bus, like the handrails and the seats and everything, is made to perfection. You trust in quality control. Speaking of quality control, I once worked at a food processing plant where I cleaned after the food was processed. I cleaned the equipment. and we had quality control come through with a bacteria detector to oversee our work, to see that we cleaned the machines properly when we leave, so that when we shut down everything, no food particles or bacteria or microbes will be festering overnight, so that when we come back tomorrow, or when the food people come there tomorrow to have food processed, there won't be any bacteria to get in the food. That's one of the processes that ensures the food you get from the supermarket is safe and fresh. And so, through institutional trust, you have confidence that all these different things, myself included at the time who worked at the factory, that you have confidence that all of us put together have put all of our efforts to make sure that the consumer spends their dollar wisely and safely, and consumes everything, with as much confidence as possible. That's institutional trust. Another trust is, I guess one would call it trust you give out, like friendships. That would kind of be societal, but this one you have a little bit more control over. Okay, and it's not only friendship trust. It's kind of like a tenuous. It's a tenuous trust. So that's the fifth one, a tenuous trust. The tenuous trust you give out, you give it to friends. You give it to a business associate that you just struck up a verbal agreement with, like, hey, I want 50 pies because I'm having a bake sale, and the people there want the expected pies, right? You're a bakery. I need 50 pies, 50 cherry pies, 100 apple pies, and 20 blueberry pies, right? We didn't write that down, so you take a note, and I trust that you'll do it. That's the tenuous trust, okay? The tenuous trust I'm talking about here, and why it's relevant, is because there was a panel on Radical Latinos channel where a young woman, I forgot what her name was, if it's Tavor, Tavia, or something. I caught a little bit of the panel, and the little bit I caught led me to believe that young woman, that young black woman, has been listening to people like Cynthia G. Okay? She's been listening to all these divestors and all of these black male hating shrews. Before I go into that, I want to digress just a little bit to go into something very relevant. It's still a digression, but it's more relevant to this than you believe. How many of you recognize Alice Walker? Alice Walker is a noted and notable feminist from the 1960s, 70s, etc. She was hardcore and probably still is. And she had a major following. I think she wrote The Color Purple, that piece of work, right? Now, with Alice Walker, she had a saying that children enslave women. When you have children, you become a slave to taking care of them. And so Alice Walker had all of these women following in her footsteps, tending to her every word, like, yeah, having children, it's totally slavery. Yeah, I don't want to do that. They trusted her. They extended that tenuous trust towards Alice Walker. What happened? Alice Walker pumped out a kid. All right? She pumped out a kid. Alice Walker had a kid after misleading all these people who extended to her their tenuous trust. She went and had a kid. Now, for men, we can have a kid or children, as many children as we want, at literally literally any age, right up until we're in the grave. We can do that. We're biologically built for that. If we're on the tail end of life, we may need a little help. But as long as the penis is physically there, we can have kids. But women have the biological clock, and they have a small window by which to extend their genetics. They have a very small window of fertility where they can actually have children. And this woman here had women of all kinds of ages, including women who are of reproductive age, listening to her while she says, having children is slavery. Why do you want to have children for? And then, without them knowing, unbeknownst to the followers of her edict, of her ideology, of her motto, unbeknownst to them, she went and pumped out a kid. So her genetics will pass on. You, the morons who listened to her, who extended your tenuous trust to her, and you had a small window by which to have children, you are fucked. F-U-C-K-T. Fucked. How many of you are familiar with Jessica Valenti? Don't worry, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere. If anyone will watch this playback at all, I'm going somewhere. Jessica Valenti started a website called Feministing. We call it Femfisting because we have no respect for it. In my circle, we call it Femfisting. Now, in Feministing, it's man-hate central. Oh, what do you need men for? You don't need a boyfriend. You don't. Real masculinity is toxic. That she's drinking and selling that Kool-Aid. She was part of the movement around 2012, 2013 that criminalized you telling a woman in public you look beautiful. She's part of that movement. Holla back, no holla back girl, whatever the fuck that was. And she was anti-marriage. Marriage is slavery. And unbeknownst to her many followers who extended their tenuous trust, unbeknownst to them, she went ahead and she got married. Oh boy, did she get married. She found some guy who's major league influential. I think he runs a printing press, right? For those of you who think printing presses only had power in the 1940s, you have no idea. Printing presses are still powerful. The written word and the printed press or printed books are coming back big time. Analog is coming back and is supplanting digital. And so this guy is powerful. She found this guy who married the living daylights out of her. And then she left femfisting to younger people who will propagate that same bullshit. Meanwhile, she's married as fuck. Who do you trust? Who do you trust? Some of you may or may not know Lacey Green. Lacey Green, at all of 23, was a sex expert. However the hell that works. Lacey Green went on a tirade talking about how there's a power imbalance in most sexual relationships that deal with men. She said, and even though it's not verbatim, this is as close to verbatim as verbatim can get. Very close, baby. She said that if you, for example, Monica Lewinsky was raped by Bill Clinton because the power imbalance is such that Monica Lewinsky, even though she's the one who sought the relationship, she's the one who sought and initiated every interaction, she could not rightfully consent because of the huge power disparity and the power imbalance that is inherent between a man who rules the free world, i.e., the president, and a lowly whatever the hell she was and was doing in that White House, right? Intern, secretary, whatever she was. She was that, and he was the president. Therefore, if there's sexual interaction between them, she cannot consent because there's a huge, major, steep uphill power imbalance. Along the line, when she's making that list, she also went into, hey, and at the time, we didn't know who she was dating. So she got away with it because she said, because there were a lot of male YouTubers who were sleeping with groupies. Believe it or not, YouTubers have groupies. Don't know how that works, but it is what it is. There were a lot of male YouTubers who were sleeping with groupies. Lacey Green said that, or she added as an example of power imbalances, rockers and roadies, right? Presidents and heads of state and interns, YouTubers and YouTube groupies, right? Someone who's non-famous and someone who's famous through YouTube. She mentioned this, and she had a ton of following who extended her their tenuous trust. Then we found out, hey, her boyfriend was not famous. He's just some schmo. And watched her YouTube channel. Therefore, he is a groupie. Okay? And she's, at the time, as famous a YouTuber as you can be. Okay? She even ended up on Discovery Channel, right? As a host on the Discovery Channel. Off of YouTube. Off of the strength of people having watched her on YouTube. Off of that popularity. Who do you trust? Who do you trust? Who? When you extend your tenuous trust, who is it you extend it to? Who do you trust? A friend of mine, I went with her to a Beyonce concert. Now, I have nothing but respect for Beyonce. Shout out to the cyborg arm, Beyonce, right? Nothing but respect for Beyonce. Beyonce has attained a level of fame and glory and accomplishment. I will not, if I live 4, 5, 6 times, I will never attain that. So, nothing but respect for Beyonce. So this is not about Beyonce at all. I went with a friend to a Beyonce concert, and Beyonce and her band performed one of the classics. All the single ladies, throw your hands up. Da, 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 da. Right, that's it. Now, the thing is, this friend of mine just went through a breakup. And no, I wasn't trying to be a rebound dude. This is just, she's a friend, right? She went through a hard breakup. And she's like, this song speaks to me. Throw your hands up. I'm a single lady. Oh, my God. And all I could say to her was like, okay, look, you and me being here, that should be comfort enough for you. That I'm trying to get you through this and we're hanging out, blah, 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 blah. That should be what you put your trust in. I didn't say trust at the time. That's what you should be putting your lot in. Okay? You're putting your tenuous trust. I didn't say that to her then. I'm explaining that to you right now. You're putting your tenuous trust into Beyonce. Beyonce is not a single lady. Beyonce is married as fuck. Now, when I say married as fuck, I want to stress that. She's married as fuck. Let me explain. I need to explain this. Beyonce, around 2011, 2010, boy, she's been around a long time, right? Around 2010, 2011, there was an incident on an elevator. It seems Jay-Z can't keep his, he can't keep his wang out of his, in his pants, right? And so he's been cheating on her. In fact, she wrote an entire album called Lemonade with her dealing with that. Okay? So the incident on the elevator is Solange. Solange. That family's Haitian, by the way. Beyonce and her family, they have Haitian roots. That's where that name Solange comes from. It's definitely a Haitian name. Anyhow, that's beside the point. So Solange lunges. Oh, that's pretty funny. Solange lunges at Jay-Z, attacking him because whatever was said in the hotel room between the three of them, whatever, it came to a head, brought the situation to a head. Because Jay-Z's been cheating. Okay? Now, when this occurred and it hit the interwebs, every single one of these godforsaken shea butter Twitter motherfuckers were out here giving their fucking opinions. Talk about, girl, you should leave him. Don't nobody deserve that. You should leave him. He don't deserve you, girl. All the salons and the Root and Essence and Ebony and Jet, BET, all these different sites and their little gossip wings and their little social media outlet influencers. Talk about, girl, you can do better than him, better than Jay-Z. Really? How? How? And so Beyonce, being the woman she is, she didn't tell them this verbatim, but her actions, she spoke with her actions. She told these people to get fucked and stay the hell out of her business. She is still married to Jay-Z. They're a loving family, all right? His transgressions are in the past. Her transgressions, if she has any, are in the past. You see, Beyonce is far from a stupid woman. She might be she might be a lot of things. Beyonce might be a dancer, a singer, a rapper. That blew me away. She raps. And very well, too. She may be a lot of things. Let me take a swig of water here. She may be a lot of things. But stupid is not one of them. Stupid is not one of them. When she's on stage and she's letting you extend your tenuous trust in her. 1 second. Pardon me. Oh, live shows, that'll kill me. Live shows and allergies, bad combination. When Beyonce's on stage and she's allowing you to extend your tenuous trust in her, and she's having you do the fucking gym class shit, throw your hands up, bitch, you throw your hands up. I pay for the show. But I'm just being a clown. She's having you do the gym class shit. Having you wave your hands from side to side, right? Having you snap your fingers, twist your neck. Yeah, girl. All my single ladies, throw your hands up. This is her Jedi mind tricking you. But she's not a stupid fucking woman. She's not going to let you Jedi mind trick her. Was she a moron? She's married to a multi-billionaire. She's married to a multi-billionaire. One of the most famous performers of all time beside her. Together, they are the power couple of power couples. The king and queen of any place that still has a king or queen, not even they are as famous as Jay-Z and Beyonce. I can't tell you what the name of the Queen of England is right now. I don't know her name. I know Beyonce knows. There was some sort of prince who died. Was it Philip, Charles, somebody? Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. But I know Jay-Z. They are the power couple of power couples. And you thought you were going to break that up? You thought, let me get this straight. You thought this woman was a multi-platinum earning recording artist, brilliant writer, performer, singer, musical instrument player, most physically endowed woman on the, one of the most physically endowed women on the planet, expert dancer, choreographer, writer. Last time I checked, I think she has a book or two out there, or maybe she ghost wrote it, but she's a writer. Business owner, several businesses she has. So I don't have enough fingers to count her accomplishments. You think this woman is going to allow you to fuck up her life? If you don't get the fuck out of here. No. You will extend your tenuous trust to her, and she will tell you what to do. And so all these different sites were like, girl, you should leave him. No. Jay-Z and Beyonce are still together. Okay? The friend that I went to the concert with, she's broken up again with her new whatever. Right? Because she's still out here listening to these different artists who are telling her, yeah, you don't need him, girl. Not understanding that she shouldn't place her tenuous trust in these people. Back to Cynthia G. Who do you trust? Cynthia G started out as a pro-black figure on YouTube. Cynthia G was along the same lines as Professor Griff, Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Boyce Watkins. She was in those circles. She had a falling out with a few of those figures, but she was in those circles. Suddenly, though, there was something that came out of her. Pure, unadulterated, uncut black male hatred. Cynthia G had something called beta, what the hell did she call it? Dusty beta males. Where if you went on her channel and you disagreed with her on anything, right? You could be agreeing with 99.999999999% of anything she's saying, but the 0.0000001% you're like, hey sister, I don't think I agree. You dusty beta male, blah 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 blah. You're a dusty beta male, right? You're a thug. You're a good for nothing, blah 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 blah. Whatever it is that she can conjure up in her imagination to call you, that's what you are. And she had a major following of black women who are listening to her poisonous, virulent, putrid diatribe, listening to all that stuff all day. She'd have these videos, 2-3 videos per day, pumping out all this black anti-black male. This woman would take her camera to Walmart, where innocent people are living their lives, coming to shop, right? And she would take photos of a black man and a white woman who are together anywhere, anyone. And she would post those things on her Twitter, on her Instagram, on her Facebook, talk about this is who they choose. And usually, if it's a black guy with a white woman who's in shape, who looks normal, she won't post it. But she will select through what I believe to be dozens of normal-looking couples who look normal, who are not ugly, who are not fat, who are not anything like that. She would go right through those and then end up on the ones where the white woman is immensely overweight. And that's her story for the day. She'll post that up on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and she'll be like, this is who they choose. And all of her followers would hop onto it because they're looking for guidance and they think she is guidance. Okay? Who do you trust? Look at her eyes. Who do you trust? And so Cynthia G, when any black person, if they're male, gets killed by police, by other white supremacists, etc., this woman gets on her podium, on her pulpit, on her soapbox to tell how it's the black guy's fault for having been killed. There's a guy called Bakari Henderson or something like that, who he went out to Greece with a few of his friends. And there was a white waitress there. There was a white waitress there who hollered at him. And the white waitress had a few friends who did not appreciate her hollering at this man. And those friends were Croatian or Serbian or something like that. And they chased Bakari out into the streets and stomped him to a pulp. Now the thing is, his friends, I don't know, with friends like these, who needs enemies, right? I know if I was there with Bakari, we would have split that beating between the two of us. Would have split that beating between the two of us. See, if he takes that beating all by himself, he's dead. If it's two of us, then we're badly injured. We're not dead because we split that beating between the two of us. And the thing is, he had more than two friends, more than one friend to make him two, right? So he had a slew of friends, 3, 4, 5, 6 friends or something like that. Those friends could have split that beating, shared it among all 7 of them. And they would have all walked away with mild concussions or bruises or anything like that. But they left him out there. So that's beside the point. Although, it's not even beside the point. It's very relevant. Who do you trust? Right? That tenuous trust that Bakari had in those white friends, it was sorely misplaced. Who do you trust? Getting back to Cynthia G, she got on her soapbox, on her pulpit, and she said that Bakari called for that beating by flirting with the white woman in the bar and by having all these different white friends. So not only does she want to police where you put your penis, she wants to police who you hand your friendship out to. Who do you trust? And then these women, these black women, who are looking for guidance, they come to Cynthia G because Cynthia G is not, she's far from being a young woman. She'd like to project that she's in her 20s or maybe teens, and black don't crack, so she looks it. However, this woman is pushing 40, definitely. And so these young women are looking to her for guidance as an elder stateswoman. And this is what she gives them. Who do you trust? Right? Cynthia G told most of these women that they should stay away from black men. That the intelligent ones are called educated lames. I am not kidding you. That's what she called us. If you're black and you're intelligent and you're a man, you, according to Cynthia G, are an educated lame. You are boring. You're lame. You are undesirable. You are milk toast. You are plain Jane. You are windy white bread. You are bleached. You are bland. And then if you're not an educated black man, then you're at the polar opposite. You're a thug. You're a thug and a dusty male. There's nothing in between. How can you win? With this person here, how can you win? If you're intelligent and educated and introspective and well researched and an autodidact, right? If you're any of these things, you're a Rhodes Scholar, you're an educated lame. Undesirable, you're bleached as white sand. But if you are from the streets, you're street smart, you're wise, you got your swagger about you, you are a thug, you are a dusty male, how can you win? She told these young black women, don't date black men. They fall in two types, educated lames and dusty males. She told them this. Who can you trust? One of the news that hit the interwebs and the YouTube streets was that Cynthia G, about 3 years ago probably at this point, got herself pregos. Got herself knocked up. Got herself the old case of swelly belly. And you know who the father was? Was a dusty male. It was a dusty male from YouTube itself. She got herself knocked up by a dusty black man. She told all these, and the thing is, that dusty black man is actually quite successful. He's a successful, mildly successful anyway, a successful YouTuber. So now Cynthia G, who told you, young black women, to stay away from she went and found herself one that she told you to stay away from, and she found one who's making a lot of bank. She's well off now. Where are you? You listened to her. You extended her your tenuous trust. Where are you? Who do you trust? And that's what I'd like to say to the young black woman who came on to Radical Latino show. Who do you trust? You don't need to trust anyone that I recommend. But think about who you trust. Who do you trust? Are you going to trust these people who tell you A, but they actually do B? Oh, these allergies messing me up, man. They tell you A, but they do B. That's what you're going to do. You're going to trust them? Who do you trust? Anyhow, that is my alarm for shutting this off. Give me a second here. All right. So anyhow, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Obviously, this is for the playback. No one was up at this time. I did this while everyone's sleeping. I did this while everybody's sleeping. My God. Hopefully it's a good playback. And some of you tomorrow, while I don't know, you're sweeping the house, you have my voice on, right? Or whatever it is you're doing. Because I will be giving you more of my deep introspective analyses of what's going on in your life. Our lives, right? Okay? And hopefully you trust me, right? Who do you trust?